Good afternoon, everybody. We're just going to let the room settle down for about 20 or 30 seconds, and then we will kick off. Thank you very much for your patience. And just get the last few to kind of come in. Okay, right. I'm going to kick off if that's okay. I'll.
Yeah, probably.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. If I could ask you to keep your microphones on mute, that would be incredibly helpful. Thank you very, very much. While we are going through the event, if there is an opportunity to ask questions at the end, we'll make sure that we let you know when to take yourselves off of mute or to raise your hands. Just a very quick one from Care England. Over the last 3 years, we know that care providers have been experiencing 1 in 3 care providers have experienced a cyber attack or an attempted breach over the last 3 years. Threats are definitely on the increase as cyber criminals are increasingly targeting the care sector, sadly. It really is now a case of when we are attacked, not if we are attacked. Oh, sorry, if I could ask you to pop yourself on mute, that would be great. Thank you. Sodom, if I could ask you just to keep an eye on everyone, make sure they're muted, that would be great. It's all of our roles. We all have a duty to protect our organisation and, importantly, those that are within our care. So we are incredibly excited to present this series of 3 lunch and learns with the CRC and our colleagues Paul and Sapphire, who will introduce themselves shortly, to really address what some of the most common cyber threats are that are facing care providers, be that from phishing, ransomware, and email compromise. We're going to draw on some real-world case studies and talk you through some of the free support and resources that are available to you, and the top 5 actions that you can take to really boost your own cyber resilience. And we'll give you an overview of what the future sessions are going to look for. It's very exciting to have our colleagues from the police supporting us. And without further ado, just to make sure we get through everything in the time we've got, I'm going to hand straight over to Paul, who will introduce himself, and then we'll introduce Sapphire a little bit later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, good morning. Oh, good afternoon. It's 12:03 now. Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks to Care England for inviting us to this webinar and giving us the opportunity to talking to you all today. Just a brief product history of myself. So I was a detective superintendent in Essex Police. Used to run the regional cybercrime unit before moving across to the Cyber Resilience Centre, which I now work as a director of. And I work along with Sapphire, who'll be presenting a bit later on as well. And the pair of us have been working for the last 3 or 4 years within this field. So we've got a lot of experience of working with organisations who've both faced cyber attacks and also helping them to avoid it in the first place. So we'll just quickly go through the agenda. So we'll be looking at the current threats, how you can protect your organisation, who we are and how we can help, and some free tools and resources that are available both locally and nationally, and how to get in touch with us as well. So we crack on to the next slide. Thank you. So what are the current threats to the care sector? So with no more ado, Richard talked about a case study. I'm going to show you a short video now, which is a case study of an attack on a care home, which actually happened in Wales in 2022. So if we go into that and get the video set up. Thank you. Thank you, Sapphire. Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that the video shows the devastating impact, not just on the business, but on the people who are involved in it as well. We sometimes forget that in policing, as well, that we think of cyber and fraud as being a victimless crime. And when you see an organisation go through it, you see actually there is a huge personal toll on the people who go through it. But yes, like I said, that was a real live event from 2022 in Wales, a care home. This sort of thing happens hundreds of times a day all around the UK. So just moving on to the scale of the problem and contextualize what we were talking about. And you see some of these big stats here about 41% of healthcare organisations fell victim to cybercrime in the last 12 months. These are all taken from the UK Cyber Breaches Survey, so it's a government survey that's done. Phishing attempts make up the vast majority of most attempts to get into businesses in the first place, or in fact against individuals as well. And there's a couple of stats there which really kind of highlight where we're at now. Over half now of all crime recorded in England and Wales is online. And there's only one direction of travel for that. It's just there'll be more and more in the future. And particularly with cybercrime, the vast majority of attacks are committed from outside the UK. So it makes it very hard to arrest the people and lock the people up who are responsible for it. So the best we can hope for in a policing perspective, and that's why we're here today, is to raise awareness and help people to become more resilient and improve their security to ensure that they don't become victim of a crime itself. And again, a question we get asked, a lot of the time, and Diane mentioned it in that video, they're just a small company. Why would I be a victim? Why would I be a target of a cybercrime? And I think I just use the analogy quite a lot of theft from motor vehicle, very popular offence when I first joined the police in the 1990s. And when a criminal went out to break into a car to steal a car stereo, they weren't targeting a particular car. They were targeting a vulnerability that car exhibited, normally an unlocked car. So basically, a criminal will go along, check a car door handle, it's locked, the next one's locked, the next one's locked, the next one's unlocked, and that's the car they break into. It's the same with cybercrime. If you're online, you're potentially a target, and they're looking for vulnerabilities. And it's about what we're trying to do today is to make you aware of what some of those vulnerabilities might be, and about how you can basically stop having a vulnerability anymore in the future. So I'll hand over to Sapphire now, who's going to take you through some stuff around phishing. So over to you, Sapphire. Thank you.
Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Sapphire.
Sapphire, we've lost your sound, I'm afraid. Can I ask everyone else to pop themselves on mute, please, other than Sapphire, if that's okay? Sapphire?
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're a bit quiet, but
We
can hear you. Yeah,
Yes,
got you.
Okay. Much better, right? No worries. Right, so yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a couple of examples of emails and text messages that could potentially be scams, and we're going to have a vote together in the chat or by reacting, and let me know whether or not you can spot any red flags in these potential scams. So I'll put the first one on the screen now. So it's an email. Pretend it's from an email from a company you are familiar with, and it's basically asking you to make a payment to a new account because they would like to make a £5,000 donation to this hospice fund. Now, if you receive this, would you believe it? Would you notice any red flags? Would you engage with it? Do you think it's a scam? Yes or no? You can use the chat to vote, or you can use the react function and let me know your thoughts around this. If you saw this email asking you to send over £5,000 to a hospice, would you think it's a scam? Okay, so we've got some people saying yes, scam, scam, scam. Brilliant. Okay, yep, that is correct. It is a scam. A couple of red flags you can notice that they're asking you to do it urgently. They're kind of giving you no room to reason with them. It's sort of just do this straight away and also let me know once you've done it. But as you can see, nowadays with things like AI, scams and phishing emails are getting a lot more sophisticated, so they're getting harder to spot. There's no longer things that you can spot out, like you can have an eye out for example, like maybe like grammar errors or spelling errors or stuff like that. They're getting much more realistic nowadays. So yeah, well done guys, that was a scam. Next one, so you log onto your emails after a long day of work and you get this email that says, claim your £50 employee gift voucher. Click on this link to claim your voucher, and it's only valid for 24 hours. So please claim your voucher promptly. So if you receive this into your inbox, do you think it's a scam? Okay, lots of people saying scam again. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, so this is quite a popular one. And for example, when you see the big cyber attacks that have happened in the news of like M&S and Carbon and stuff like that, a lot of them are down to human error, which are things like this. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly what happened to M&S, but things like this where it seems quite innocent and it's a bit more playful. And what will happen is you'll click on Claim My Voucher. It will take you to a portal where it'll ask you to enter in your login details just to verify that you are a employee of that company, which is quite common for things like blue light card and stuff like that. But then obviously what you've done there is just handed over your login credentials for your company, which then the criminal can then use to gain access to your company. So this is another very popular type of scam that cyber criminals do use. Final one now, you go onto WhatsApp, you've been looking for a new job, you've been on LinkedIn, you've been on Indeed, and then you get this message from somebody saying, hey, I'm the recruitment manager at Upwork Group, and I'm contacting you because I have some good news for you. Can I have a few minutes of your time? Do we think this is a scam? Yes or no? Scam? Some people are saying scam again. You can use the chat or react. Let me know. Scam, 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 scam. Right, what red flags are we noticing from this? What's particularly making you think that it's a scam? This is actually quite an interesting one because this message actually came through to my personal WhatsApp number. So someone messaged me this and then they proceeded to message me a lot more messages and sort of pester me. So obviously I had to block and report them. But you can see here, it's basically saying that they have a partnership with TikTok and they want me to basically go and look at some TikTok videos and give my opinion on them. And then they'll pay me up to £280 a day, which obviously doesn't sound very realistic, but maybe if you're in that space, you might engage with it. And you can see here I responded to the message and said, wow, this sounds amazing and certainly not like a social engineering scam, because this is what these scams are. They're basically trying to manipulate you into clicking onto a link or handing over your data or your bank details. So that was 3 out of 3 examples, which you all got right. Well done. As we can see, and like I touched on previously, phishing attacks are getting more and more sophisticated, especially with things like AI. It does not take that long for a cyber criminal to do a quick Google search on you, look on your LinkedIn, look on your company profile, look on your about section on your company website and find out some information about you, which they can then use against you in a cyber attack. So there are a couple of things you can watch out for, and I will be sending out these slides afterwards, which you can share with your team. They're always try and use a sense of urgency to try and to get you not to think about the action and act on it straight away. They'll also pretend to be somebody of authority, again, to scare you into the action and not double guess it. But sometimes they'll play on your curiosity. And the thing is, no one is immune to phishing attacks or cybercrime. I've worked in this role for around 3 years now. We do internal phishing campaigns just to test people, and anyone who fails it then goes to training. And I fell victim to one of those campaigns myself because it asked me if it was an email saying you've got a voicemail on Microsoft Teams. Now I opened up my Microsoft Teams, I had a look, and I thought there's no voicemail there. Where is it? So I just clicked on the link, and then it said you fell victim to a phishing campaign. You must go to training. So no one is immune. It just depends on your circumstances, if it's a busy Friday afternoon or something like that. But it's just important to use these tools out there and be aware just so you can stay on high alert. So moving forward onto what you can do to protect your organization, often people think that it's a lot of technical stuff you've got to do. You've got to have an MSP or an IT company. You've got to go through loads and loads of training or install expensive software. But it's often the most basic things that can stop you from falling victim to a cyber attack. So the first thing you can do is have a look at your passwords. Now, I know this is incredibly tedious and boring, but it's so important because it is the first line of defense in protecting you against a cyber attack. If your password is I love Arsenal football team 123 and you use that for your Tesco account, your work email, and your Netflix account, if someone guesses that and then cracks your Tesco account, they can get access to every other account that you use that password for. So it's really important to just spend 10 minutes one Tuesday evening each week, have a look at a couple of passwords at a time, just change them something that's a bit more secure. This table on the right here was done by a cybersecurity research group, and it essentially shows you how easy it would be to crack your password depending on how complex it is. So you can see if your password is just all lowercase letters, it can be cracked, up to 3 weeks, so it can be cracked instantly. But if your password is a mixture of numbers, upper and lowercase letters and symbols, so a bit more complex, and let's just say 13 characters long, it can take up to 11 billion years to crack your password. Now, if someone's trying to crack your password for 11 billion years, I don't know what top government secrets you're hiding. Maybe we need to speak afterwards. But again, really useful to be using visual aids like this to understand, okay, bit boring passwords, but they're so important because I can put myself nicely in the yellow zone here or the green zone here as well. So to create a strong password, you can use the government guidance from the National Cybersecurity Centre, which is to use 3 random words. So you basically take 3 random words from a memory that's unique to you, combine them in a random order, add some uppercase letters and special characters, and then you have a password that's easy to remember, but puts you nicely in that yellow and green zone. To store your passwords, you can use a password manager, which is often built into your browser or your iPhone or something like that. Those password managers are free to use and they are good to use. However, you want to make sure your password to access your Google account or to access your Apple account is strong, because then that's allowing everything else to be protected safely. Or you can go back to the good old days and write down your passwords. We used to advise not to write down your passwords because people would just leave them on post-it notes on their laptops. But now, actually, with the world that we live in, it's actually less likely that a cyber criminal is going to get a hold of a notebook that's kept in your locked drawer in your office, as opposed to password managers that are online. And remember, anything that is online or connected to the internet can potentially be hacked. So like I said, I will send out these slides afterwards, as I know it's a bit of a whistle stop tour. But finally, the second thing you can do to protect your organization and protect yourself is enable 2-step verification. So all that is 2 pieces or more of information that verify who you are. So you have your password, which is like a key to get into your house, and then you have your code that's text to your phone or your Face ID, which is like having a deadlock or a chain across your door. So it's that second line of defense in a cyber attack, because someone could crack your password by guessing it. It could be leaked in a data breach, but they don't have the code that's text to your phone. They don't have your Face ID. They don't have the code that's sent to your email, things like that. So it's really, really important to enable. We can do one-to-ones after this where we sort of talk through this in a bit more detail and get your organization all up to date with this. We also offer a lot of fully funded training as well. So there's a wealth of support out there that is available. But with that being said, and mindful of time, because I do like to talk, I'll hand over back to Paul, who will talk you through some of the free tools and resources that we have available.
Thank you, Sapphire. That was really useful. Thank you. Yes, so we'll have a look at the free tools resources that you can access through our network. So if we have a look at the first slide, which is around Have I Been Pwned. So if you've not heard of Have I Been Pwned, it's a free website. You can put your email address into it, and what it does, it will tell you if and how many times your personal data has been leaked onto the internet. So, for example, I put my old email address on there. And it had been basically appeared on 7 data breaches. Because I used my same password at one point on multiple accounts, I was subject to a cyber attack in 2017 against my Amazon and my EE accounts. So it's a really good place to start. So you might think that your passwords are safe, but actually there's a very good chance that criminals have already got access to what your passwords are. And if you find you've been subject to a data breach, for goodness sake, make sure you change your passwords for those accounts straight away. And the other thing that is up there is the National Cybersecurity Centre Cyber Action Toolkit. One of the best things, in my view, that the NCSC, the National Cybersecurity Centre, produced in recent years. It's a really good tool, and you can get access to it again through our newsletter, through our membership, and it's completely free of charge. And what it does, it goes through various different areas of your cybersecurity. And if it's a bit weak, it'll give you some prompts and some guidance and some advice as to how you can actually improve it. Again, it's free of charge, and it's a really, really good way of starting off in your cybersecurity journey. So if we just have a look at the network that we sit in ourselves, so the Cyber Resilience Centre, it's a police-led, government-funded network of centres. So we're all police officers, police staff, and we're funded by the government, so we don't charge for anything that we do. We were set up initially to basically help small and medium-sized organisations, including the care sector, obviously, to become more cyber resilient. And there's a whole range of things that we can do. to do that. So I'll show you what the membership looks like. So basically, when you sign up for our newsletter, I know the vast majority of you have already signed up, who are on this call, but for those who haven't, then please do either sign up for the newsletter or sign up for a chat. We'll have a 30-minute chat with you to talk through certain things that you might want to do next. But if you basically sign up to us, you get a monthly newsletter from us featuring the latest guidance and threats, signposting the free tools and resources, and also the kind of funded free cybersecurity awareness presentations like this one, but they're more detailed, and webinars that we can do to your staff, to your customers, and also to your supply chain. So it's a fantastic free way of improving your cyber posture. So just to finish off now, 4 things. So I'm contractually obliged to tell you this. So 4 things to remember. If you remember nothing else, and you'll get copies of the slide deck anyway, so you'll be able to see this in your own time. As Sapphire said, make your password secure and unique, and also use a password manager if you can. Don't use the same password across multiple accounts, or what happened to me could happen to you. Use 2-step verification, multi-factor authentication it's called sometimes, on your key email accounts and your social media accounts. If you don't, then it makes it you're far more vulnerable to attack. Again, you'll see all the free tools and resources, and we just touched on a handful of them. There's a lot more out there that we can tell you about, and then sign up to our newsletter. And I think there's just some links on there. And one of the things I would say is that if you ever become a victim of a cyber attack, then please do report to the police. The police can do a lot more these days to help you. Sometimes they can repatriate social media accounts, and in more serious cases, they can help your incident response. Sometimes you've been ransomwared, with providing some details to help you get your data back potentially, or unencrypting data anyway. So please do report everything to the police if you become a victim of something. And I think with 3 minutes left to go, I think we're on to the thanks for listening. Any questions slide? Thank you very much.
I've just realised that the dates for our next webinars are incorrect on here, so please do not look at them. I will instead send them in the chat so you can register for our next webinars. We have two more in this series that we're doing with Care England. We have the personal devices, WhatsApp and data sharing. It's all about how to bring your own devices to work safely, and the risks that are posed through WhatsApp and Facebook and stuff like that. And then our final one is all about training. So it will be about spotting human error and creating a cyber aware culture in care. And in that webinar, we'll be talking a lot more about all the fully funded training options that are available. So we have like cyber escape rooms, online and offline sessions as well. So if you are interested, please feel free to register. I've just put the links in the chat. But yeah, thank you very much for attending. I think we'll see if anyone has any questions now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sapphire and Paul. I just want to reiterate the link you put in the chat for membership. It's totally free. There's no cost. You get lots of free resources. We're encouraging everyone to sign up and join the other 2 webinars as well, because you will get a lot of really great materials given to you free of charge. You'll be made aware of all the latest sort of developments as they happen. And Paul and Sapphire, you are dedicated to adult social care as well, aren't you? So you are really focused on our sector. So when you're talking to us, you're talking not generally about just cybersecurity. You're talking about cybersecurity as it really pertains to our sector. Does anyone have any questions in the last couple of minutes you'd like to put to Paul or Sapphire? While they come.
I'd like to add to your point, Richard, that I did study health and social care for about 4 or 5 years and have done a lot of work experience in care homes as well. So I'm not saying I'm not flattering myself to say I know as much as the people in this call who are so experienced, but I have some experience in that sense as well.
Superb. There is a quick question coming from Adam. Are there any services like above that monitor the whole domain, and anything that domain as would be helpful to monitor?
Yes. Well, the one thing that again we haven't talked about it, we haven't had time to talk about today, is something called Police Cyber Alarm. So Police Cyber Alarm is again another free tool that you can download. It sits on the outside of your external firewall, and it monitors traffic, basically logs traffic coming into your network, and notifies you about anything that's suspicious. So it's similar to a lot of the commercial paid for solutions out there. Obviously, it doesn't cost any money, and it reports back to police as well. So we're able to build up what's called a rich picture of intelligence about what's happening across the whole country. Because obviously these attacks are global; they don't come from they affect everybody all over the world. So yeah, Police Cyber Alarm is something. And again, from our newsletter and from our content that we send out, it'll be something you learn more about in due course.
Brilliant. Again, totally free, because I know that was one of the things that really excited me when you presented it before. There's another great one coming. It says, if we accidentally click on a scam link, what should we do next? Great question.
It is a great question. The first thing you should do is exit wherever you're on. So close down the web browser or get out of it. The next thing to do would be to report it. So this is why it's really useful to have things like continuity plans. So being aware of who you need to report it to straight away, whether that's your IT company, your manager. You then also want to report it to Action Fraud, which is the UK's police reporting hub for cyber. And then you want to keep an eye on your bank accounts, on your email accounts, have a look for any suspicious activity there as well. Get in touch with us. We can talk you through some next steps as well. We don't do instant response, but we can certainly give you some guidance. So you sort of want to make sure, I mean, that's what we'll cover in our last webinar, of making sure you sort of have a go-to action plan of what to do, and not victim blaming as well, because it can happen to anyone.
Really, really easy when you're busy. You just click on a link without even thinking about it. I've done it many, many times. There's another question. With the presence of everyday AI, everyday life, AI in everyday life, will it not track passwords being typed into the computer or mobile? You know, is AI clever enough to kind of pick up what we're typing in terms of passwords?
Yeah, I mean, AI is lots of things. I've not heard of that before, but I mean, it's certainly being used to perfect and allow people who aren't very technical to deliver these kind of phishing campaigns against victims. And so also we've heard about the voice cloning. It's something that's definitely developing as well. So AI is definitely a clear and present threat to all of us through the sort of cyber world. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we could do that now or in the future as well. It's incredible. Yeah.
This is why it's really important to sign up to the membership, because then you'll be kept abreast of all these things. And very thank you very much, Digby Manor, for dropping that in there, that you were donated a piano and you had to pay for transport and you lost 550. Thank you, because that's the type of scams that people get you on. You know, we do get a lot of donations within social care, and you know, you organising transport for someone when someone's passed, you think this is a very simple thing to do, but we are being exploited. What an awful thing, and £550. So thank you for sharing that. So I'll wrap it up there, and just to say a huge thank you to Sapphire and Paul for your time. I hope that everyone will register for the next couple of events. They're going to get a bit more detailed. They are very quick, short lunch and learns, because we're conscious that you're all incredibly busy, but we really look forward to seeing you on the next one later on this month. Thank you very much. Next month, sorry. Thank you very much.
Guys.
Thank you.
Just bear with us a second, Paul and Sapphire.